Hey everyone, this is Mita, and you guys are tuning in to Bluntly Talking, and I am here with the beautiful Muzica and the beautiful Noodles. Thank you, ladies. Hi.
Hi,
Hey.
hi. How's it going?
Good, good, good. So I'm excited because this is our second episode of the Witch's Corner. Witch's Corner.
I'm excited for this.
Me too, because we started this I don't know, channel, series. I don't know, what would you call it?
Uh, I guess series.
This new venture, right? And so this is our second episode. We were trying to think of what exactly it is that we were gonna talk about, right? So we decided that we're gonna kind of start from the beginning, I guess you could say,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which would be today's topic is connecting with your spirit guides, deities, and spirits. So what exactly does that mean? Right? What exactly does that mean when what are spirit guides? What are the deities and what are the spirits? Would you like to explain that, Musika?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you in the spot.
no, yeah. No, yeah, so, like, from what I understood and everything, like, I know lots of people also make this mistake too. Which, Mom, you did kind of make a mistake on this a little too when I first tried to explain it, like, how spirit guides and spirits themselves aren't exactly the same thing. Lots of people think it's the
Hmm.
same. I thought they were the same a while for too, but then we look more into it, no. So, spirits, like, you could say like like oh like spirits of water, earth, fire, air, plants, trees, like pretty much like almost anything and everything from what I
Hmm.
understand. And spirit guides are like ones that will help you onto your path, like to bring you to like your I wouldn't say like your end goal, but more like to like what you're hoping
Well,
to achieve and to
they
help you
guide
get
you.
yeah like how it
Spirit
pretty much
guides.
yeah like how it's pretty much how the name is like it's spirit guides. Like, they'll help you to the best of their abilities as long as you allow them to.
Hmm.
And deity work is a whole different story because like unlike spirits and spirit guides where they're there to help in service to you, you are now in service to a deity of a higher power and calling. And it is both. Me, I'm working with the Lady Guadalupe, and
Hmm.
I did look up like her original true name too, which I'm not gonna say because I sounded it out in my head, couldn't sound right, so I tried speaking it out loud, didn't sound right to me either. I kept butchering it, and I'm not gonna say it because like I know for a fact I'm gonna butcher it, and it's just gonna sound terrible, and I don't wanna like I know like she
Go
wouldn't get
there.
mad of me like trying to say her true um name to the Hispanic and Mexican culture, but like
You
for
don't want to
me,
butcher it,
yeah, I don't want
basically.
to butcher it very much. Like I don't want to sound a bit insulting to her that in that way. So like I'm not even gonna say it. Like no, yeah, like again, she when I read about with her story with her, me trying to figure out like oh like again like want to get in touch with my roots again. Like I looked up her story a bit, and sadly enough, there's not much of her story of her true first story. It is known that
Mm.
she holds the body of the earth and holds the sun and the moon and the stars, and she is known not only as a mother and nurturing figure, but she's also known as a very powerful warrior. Like she has, again, if you looked up, not saying like her other story of Guadalupe is any different. It's just like they give like almost like two different identities, uh, identities that she presents in a way.
Mhm.
Like there's
Okay.
the mothering, nurturing side, which is Guadalupe, which she'll show to everyone. But then if you become her enemy, you piss her off, you try to pretty much like antagonize her, she will show you that she will fight if she must. Like
Right. She's a
she will
strong
stand you.
mom.
No, yeah.
Mama bear,
No, yeah.
basically.
Like
Yeah.
there's even stories of her other side where it's known that she has literally fought against other deities before in the past, and like so many of them have trembled before her because they know like to fight against her would mean almost pure destruction.
Mhm. Okay.
And hearing that on both of these sides, and then I was surprised about her story, the other story, because like again, um, growing up Catholic and everything, all I heard was her being loving and nurturing, you know, and like to hear this other side of her, I was completely and utterly shocked, but I was intrigued because to me it was just like, well, why wasn't I taught this? Like she sounds total badass to me now. Like don't get me wrong, mama figure, still love that, but hearing this side of her, I was just like, I want to know more. But again,
Right.
unfortunately, because like of the whole conquering and everything, and not a lot of it was translated properly, or like some of it was
Mm.
destroyed or lost. It's just like not much is known
Right.
about her about that, and to me, I felt sad and angry because it's just like,
Like people should
why?
know about it.
Oh yeah, like people should know. Like this is part of our history. Like even if you don't follow her, like you still should know about her. You know?
Right.
And I don't know. It just made me so angry.
Mhm. To kind of piggyback on what you just said, going back onto the spirit guides, for me, and also I want to say this, purely for entertainment purposes,
Yes.
but also like for me, when I think of spirit guides, I also include my guardian angels into that,
Mhm.
right? So I don't know if you guys do the same, or because to me it's like when you think of a spirit guide, it's kind of like a guardian angel.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to add that, like, just not to confuse people. Again, this is for anybody who's either new to this or not, you know. And if you're not, you know, give us your experiences. I would like to know that as well. Do you want to add anything to that, Noodles? Or we good to move on?
Um, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm still baby, so I don't
Yeah,
I
baby
only know
witch.
so much. I only have connections with my spirit guides, and even then, it's still tricky for me to keep in touch with them.
Hmm.
So,
Well, and that's what I wanted to start off with this topic is well, how do you know you're ready? Right? Because let's say that it's somebody who kind of starting and but how do you know?
Mhm.
So the way one oh God, so honestly, it's for me, what I think, you know, the way that you know is if you start getting signs. They communicate, they start wanting to get your attention,
hmm
basically. You feel it, part of your intuition. And many people will say that there's a number thing, right? You see, every time you see a sequence of numbers, 111, you know, 1111, or patterns 444, 9, you know, some people even say their number is 1234. Like they'll see like 1234 on the clock, like stuff like that. Other types of signals, we talk about feathers,
yeah,
birds, you and it's not just like every bird you see, right? because it's something that you kind of feel. We all have intuition, all of us. We all have this wonderful thing called intuition, and some people just hone it more. Some people have it more, and some people haven't. But it's there, even if you don't think you have it, you do. And I feel that that's when you start getting these signs, they start wanting to get your attention. That's really how you know that you're ready to communicate with them.
Mm.
I'm trying to think back to me when I first started communicating with the first ones that I started to communicate with was my guardian angel. That's the first, I guess, spirit guide that I first started communicating with. But in my situation, I mean, I do see a lot of repeating numbers. But do you guys remember how you started? And again, just remember, like, a lot of these things are also personal, so if that you don't have to go into depth with that, but obviously, just I would like to know your experiences of what if you remember, because I trying to think back and it's been years for me. So how did you how did you know you guys were ready to communicate with your spirit guides or deities and other spirits? Like how did you know?
Mm. Well, Nils, do you want to go first or?
Oh, sure. Well, for me, it was one of those. For a while, I had been seeing um number patterns. Like I kept catching it when it was what 1111, 222. I think I also found uh 444, I believe it was. I forget which one
Mhm.
it was. But those numbers kept showing up for me. And it was one of those like you were going through your journey, Musica was going through hers. So I knew what the signs were. And one of the times that we had gone, we went to one of those shops to kind of look for, I think you were looking for pendulums, I think it was.
Oh yeah, we went to the feng shui
Yeah.
shop here in town, right?
And for me, like I didn't like I was just along for the ride. Like I really wasn't planning on getting anything or anything. I was just looking around, but there was a specific pendulum that I saw that just caught my eye, and I was just like, huh, like it's really nice. And I ended up getting it. And from there, you showed me a little bit on the steps on how to use it, and I did my own research to see what I needed uh, to actually use it. And from there, that's when I was able to connect to my spirit guide. And for me, the easiest way, I mean, the pendulum is one way for me to contact them. And it's basically just simple either show me yes, no, or maybe.
Mhm.
So that's, I can only ask them so much on the pendulum. But for the most part, they answer me. And with everyone, you come to find out that like you don't have just one spirit guide. You have your higher spirit guides and then you have just regular spirit guides. So for
Mhm.
me, I always ask to speak to the highest spirit guide that I have.
Mhm.
And I get to talk to them. I've meditated where I've actually um seen their shadow because they don't show themselves to you right away. Like you have to go through steps in order to get to that point. But
Mhm.
so for me, like that's how I've been able to, you know, just because I've always been seeing the numbers. It's always been there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I finally was just like, okay, I hear you. I see you. Yeah, that's how I knew.
Right. Okay. That's really cool. I didn't know that that was when we went to the store that that was what for you, so that I'm really happy for that. Yes, I was gonna say about that that you do meditation. Oh my God, meditation is a big one. That's definitely even if you even if you don't get any signs, or you say, you say to yourself, well, I haven't seen anything, I don't know what they're talking about. Honestly, just you wanting to already connect, that's already a sign right there.
Mhm.
You wanting to know more. Again, we need to learn how to listen more to our intuitions, and that's part of it. You just wanting to seek that is already them calling you. So I just want to make that clear too. Like, you don't have to wait to see a sign.
Hmm.
You don't have to. Just you already wanting that desire, that's it. You know. So you kind of touched upon on how to communicate with them, because you said about meditation. That is definitely the number one way to connect with them, is through meditation. Do you
Definitely.
guys do anything else other than meditate to connect with them? Or would
Mm,
you agree that that's the way?
that is one way. Other ways is like how you said, like speaking to the pendulum, tarot cards, or even just asking out loud, like, hey, like give me a sign if you want something specific, like
Mhm.
say like show me like okay like for instance like oh you say like show me like one or two ravens or show me a flower's gonna show up or something, like ask for something specific that you probably will end up seeing,
Mhm.
because again you can't ask for something outlandish either, because again there's also so many limitations they can physically like bring to you or like give signs of. I mean, yes, there are other ways to like photos and things like that, but other than that, it's like you need to like ask for something specific. Say like, oh, like you ask for like a color, and you want to be specific of the color. Like say, denim blue, royal blue, or like baby blue, and they'll show you baby blue colors in certain ways.
Yeah, and you can ask. For example, like, you could say something. For example, let's say you're in the winter, right? It's the winter, and I want a sign. Give me a sign of like a butterfly. I don't think butterflies come out in the winter, do they? I don't know.
I don't think so.
So, and also the signs will come as different things. Like, they're not always going to show up
Hmm.
as like, if you ask, can I see a butterfly? That doesn't mean that you're gonna see like the actual flying butterfly. You could see it in a book, you could see it online, you could see it, it could be a picture of a butterfly. So be open to that as well. I think the important thing is to be open and to receive these types of messages.
Mm.
Yeah, and I believe it's you have to also take into account that it's a feeling. Like it's not you can't force it. You can't like, oh, this is it. This is it. Like it's when you see it, you just feel like, oh, this is it.
Mhm.
It's not something that can be forced. It has to come naturally.
No,
Right.
yeah. No, yeah. And you also like had to be asking like if you want further like interpretation of the sign, like to like another confirmation, like this is like what I think it is. Like then that's
Mhm.
okay too, because like there have been some people like they will see a sign and they'll take it as another way and be like, oh, this is actually what it means. Like, no, this is what it probably actually means, and you're just interpreting it the way you want it to be.
Mhm. I like we said earlier, I think the way to communicate with them, when you're ready, it's a feeling, you'll know, and you start to meditate. And I have heard so many people say how that they can't meditate. They don't know how to meditate. There is a ton of resources on YouTube, on TikTok. That's how I learned. But really, you just look for a space, just for a quiet space. It does have to be quiet. You don't have to do anything fancy. That's another thing because I used to think like, oh, well, I need candles, I need this, I need incense. No. Yes, does that help? Yes. But if you're just starting out, you can just, sit in a quiet place, try to gather your thoughts. The other thing that I've had people tell me, well, I can't because when I do that, I start thinking of so many things. Like trust me, I get it because my mind is never, never shuts down. But my trick to that, which I'm going to share with you guys on what to do, and I've heard many different versions of this, but this is just my version. So when I'm getting ready to meditate, I always picture like if there's a chest right in front of me, like one of those chests, like the ones in Harry Potter where they're lugging this big old chest and then they put it like at the foot of their beds.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I always picture this chest and it's open, and every time I get a thought, for example, I'm trying to meditate and then it's like, oh, I need to go buy this. That's a thought that has nothing to do with my meditation, right? With what I want to do. So that thought, I visually put it into that chest. And every thought that comes to me that does not have to do with the meditation or anything like that, I put it in the chest. And in my mind, it's like, this is going to be for later. I can think about all this after I'm done. And that just seems to work for me. I heard somebody else that what they do is they picture like they have a tennis racket, and every time that they think of something else, they kind of like bat it away. I like that one too.
Interesting.
Yeah, they like bat away that thought. And so every time like they have that throughout their whole meditation, and so every time like a thought creeps in that is not having to do with the meditation, they just bat that thought away. And so there is no right or wrong. You can however you want. But also don't stress too much about it. It's okay to meditate and have all these other thoughts. That's another thing that don't stress too much about it. It's okay,
Mhm.
you know? And then, you just start asking, I don't know, whatever. Everyone has different beliefs. I do believe in God, but I just happen to believe in a different God, the way some other people think. And so I just start, and I honestly, for me, I don't know if this is how it was for you guys, but for me, I just started talking to my guardian angel like if I was talking to you.
Mhm.
And don't be fooled because a lot of the times, and it has happened to me, it's like you're basically kind of having a conversation in your head, and you feel like you're having a conversation with yourself, but you're not. You really aren't. Like when you're in that meditative state, obviously the more advanced you get, it's different because like me, I feel like I have visually seen my guardian angel. Not fully, but I have seen. So, but there are times that I have felt silly and I'm thinking like this is just a voice in my head. And I always think, referencing Harry Potter again, I always think about I don't know if you guys remember in the last movie where Harry asked Dumbledore's dead, and he asked like, "Is this real, Professor? Or are you all just in my head?" And he says, "Well, yeah, of course I'm in your head, but like it doesn't make it less real," or something like that.
Mhm.
So how do you guys do it when you meditate with those intrusive thoughts? Do you just let them flow, or do you guys have a method? Because my method is like I said, with the chest, and I just put all my thoughts in there, and then I just like, okay, I'll think about this afterwards.
Mhm. For me, it's kind of it depends because if it's something very serious that I need like guidance in, then um I kind of like ask for help to like stay focused.
Mhm. Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and my uh, my guardian will sometimes actually help, or they'll tell me también. Sometimes like they'll help, and other times they'll just be like, "This is on you. Like if this is something important you need information on, like you have to work to stay focused." And I'm like, I dislike when they do that, but when that happens, that's kind of when I have to I just circle on back. Like I kind of imagine myself and my guardian walking together, and every time that there's an intrusive thought that's trying to get me out of my zen, basically, I'll um I'll pretend like it's a tree that got in my way, and we just need to walk around it, and tell them like we'll come back and look at that.
Hmm.
So that's how I do it.
That's really cool. That's interesting.
That is very interesting. For me, I would just normally let it flow for a bit, like get it out of my system, and then I'll go back to like what I was doing before. And then for me, because like before, I'll try to ignore it or I'll try to store it away, but my mind wouldn't let me a lot. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna let it run its course in my head, and I did, and that works for me because then it's like, okay, I got that out of my system. Now I can focus, and
Mm-hmm.
that works for me a lot.
Yeah. See, so that's interesting because I don't think we've ever really talked about that, have we?
We have not.
But that's interesting because this right here is like it shows people there's no really right or wrong way to do this.
Mhm.
Again, you just follow your gut and try it. You have nothing to lose, right? So once you start, that's a way to connect with them. I think it's probably the fastest way. And the more you do it, the better that you'll get with it, and the more you'll be able to communicate with them. And that's when it expands to meeting more, as it was in my case. I started off with my guardian angel, and I was comfortable with that, and I was okay. But in my meditations, the more that I would meditate and the more that I would communicate with my guardian angel, I would start feeling other presence around us. And that's how I met my spirit guide, and I've met my spirit animals. So once you start, it's kind of like a floodgate. It's wonderful and it's beautiful. And you start developing this relationship with them because that's really what it is. Whether you believe it or not, we all have our guardian angels. We all have our spirit guides. And it's that little voice that helps you. We've all had those experiences where we're driving down and you almost got hit, but you didn't. And something told you to maybe turn right instead of left. And then, you know what I mean? Like, if you really think about it, we've all had those experiences. That's your spirit guides, your deities, or spirits looking out for you.
Hmm.
And if you just start acknowledging that, if you start acknowledging their presence, if you start thanking them, because that's another big thing, right? That has, for me, with my spiritual journey is gratitude. So if you just start acknowledging that and giving thanks for those things, that's going to help you to connect more with them.
I agree with that.
No, yeah, definitely. Because again, it's like how, like, again, like us as human beings, that we can't stand being alone, and our guides, deities, spirits all around us and everything. It's like acknowledging like they're also there. Also, it's the whole like no man's an island thing. Like, yeah, like without them, a lot of stuff like we couldn't be able to do ourselves. Like, how you say like instincts, knowing like is this safe for me or not, or
Well, you know what? I guess this would be a good time to talk about, I guess, our beliefs in that, right? Because the belief is that, in my belief, right, for what I know is true to me, is our spirit guides, our guardian angels, they're with us since the time that we're born.
Mm-hmm.
And my belief is, we're all spiritual beings. I have that in my in my bios. I think like I'm a spiritual being living a human experience. So I believe that we make these pacts before we come to Earth, before we come to this land. And so your guardian angel, your spirit guides, they've always been there with you. They're just waiting for you to acknowledge them. Do you
Mm-hmm.
guys believe that too, or how did that?
well, first I should also probably say like how I probably came into contact with any spirits or deities for me and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because it kind of skipped
Yes,
over that with
please.
me.
I am so sorry. Did I? I am so sorry. Okay,
It's
tell us.
alright, I get it. Like, it's very exciting to talk about and everything. So for me, again, though, my spouse is in the military and we're over in England. This happened to me, I want to say, on our second year there. And me getting back, trying to figure out my path and everything. And Amber just one day, I looked to my spouse saying like, I want to get back into witchcraft, and like they were very supportive of that for me. They're like, okay, yeah, sure, like go ahead, do it. I'm like, cool. And then I asked them like, do you think I should work with spirits or deities or just by myself for now? And first of all, I tell you, my spouse was not very helpful in that situation. They're like, oh, it's whatever you want, and it's like, thanks, I'm asking for your opinion, and you suck at this. And I did say like out loud, like I am thinking of like, oh, like maybe I should work with spirits or deities. And let me say this right now, people. Like, uh, if you don't have a specific one in mind and you just say out loud your intention, or even think of it, or like wanting to feel that deep inside of you, like you should probably put up like energy protection or add like something along with it, like saying like I am gonna do this, but like I still need time to figure things out, because what happened to me, I got overwhelmed because, again, when I said that out loud, without knowing any better, um,
Mhm.
a lot of spirits, deities, I wouldn't say my guides, because if anything, I think they're the ones who probably first warned me, saying like, hey, I think you probably did this unintentionally, and I did. A lot of spirits, a lot of deities of any and all cultures, like literally, like I felt like I was getting like,
Bombarded.
yeah, like how like almost like how in a way like you would forget like how like say your email, like you forget like you've had
Mm.
that for quite some time. You open it, all of a sudden you're getting flooded with all these messages, and you're like, holy shit! It was kind of like that, like because I accidentally opened out saying to like the pantheon of everywhere, like of the universe. It was like, oh, like there's this new person now. Like everybody was pretty much saying like, work with me, and as much as I loved their enthusiasm, looking back on it now, back then, I got a split headache. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like either I was too energized or I had too much. I felt I had too much energy, too little energy. I felt overwhelmed. I got snippy because, like I said, it gave me a headache.
Snippy.
I did get snippy. The reason I know I got snippy because like every little thing that my wife was doing like was somehow annoying me to the extreme. She
Mhm.
let's say like she just accidentally like left out a glass of water she just finished, and I didn't know if she was gonna get more or if she was gonna wash it yet. I get annoyed immediately, asking her like, "Why didn't you put that away? Why didn't you wash it? Why aren't you doing this and that?" Like I would get annoyed with everything, like, and I would get so many different signs of like so many different deities and spirits, and I was curious because one time we got a sign of a white cat, a black cat, a white raven, and three ravens, and like I looked them all up, and sure enough, like all of them had like different signs of like with different deities. Again, like I said before, of like different cultures.
Mhm.
And it took me a while to realize like I may have unintentionally invited a lot more people than I expected. So I immediately started saying out loud, because like that's the best way that I knew how to do it, to me at least. And I was like, "Thank you everyone for like showing me that you're interested in working with me in my path of this and everything." But I did say like, "But this is a bit overwhelming for me, and I'm not sure like I'm still trying to figure things out myself. Like please give me my time," and like pretty much telling them like if they could just back up and like let me breathe a bit, and they did.
Mhm.
They did. They were all very respectful in that way, and I felt less pressure. I felt less headaches, and I no longer was snippy. And I immediately apologized to my spouse, and again, she was very understanding. She's like, "No, yeah, it's like I like your change in mood was different because I tell you, within that same day that I asked them, like I changed back to my regular self."
Mhm.
And I was
She
just like,
probably just didn't want the wrath of you. She's like, I totally understand. She didn't want you to curse her or anything like that.
maybe for all I know, but like no, yeah, like I just again like if you're ever bring out intent like oh maybe I do want to start working with a spirit or a deity, you should put up some protections or something, or just like also let out there like no like if you do want to like come at you gently, because if you're not
Mhm.
then you will be overwhelming. You'll be inviting everybody. I did that back because like I said, and those were my first few signs of like okay that's a lot. Again, it
Thank
was very
you.
interesting.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up. You're right, because I had forgotten about that. And I know that Noodles mentioned it earlier, a little bit about it, about how, always speaking to the highest of the spirit guides, which you're right. I completely forgot about the protection. You definitely do need to protect yourself. You don't want to invite spirits that are not good for you
Mhm.
because there is that there. So you definitely don't want to do that. The way I just do my own, like the way I do the protection for me is I just always envision like a white light, a white protective. I literally envision myself putting on this armor to protect me from the spirits that I do not want near me. And I always do say that, what Noodles said as well. I put out my intention that I just want to communicate with the highest of my spirit guides, the highest of my guardian angels. If you want what's best for me, that's who I want to communicate with. And nobody else is invited because that is your circle, it is your home, and nobody else. Only the ones that you intend to communicate with.
Mhm.
So, is there anything else you want to add about this before we move on to either of you? I don't want to skip over anybody this time.
Mm, Um, other than that, like when I first decided to, cause like the first being that that I decided to work with was oddly enough not my spirit guides, which I don't think they got upset. I think if anything, like, because I don't feel like they're upset. Because I think if they were upset, like I would probably feel like uneasy or unsettled. If anything, I think like they're more like understanding. Like, I think if anything, they may have been the ones to push me to again like look more deeply into my own heritage or anything. Because like the first person that I ended up reaching out to was, like I said, like Guadalupe. And when I heard about my spirit guides and everything, I was like, I did think in my head like, shit, like did I do it wrong? But like like you said
Mhm.
later on, like you find out there is no right or wrong way. I just went in a different
Right.
pathway for it. And also this too, like don't assume like every single spirit or deity out there is gonna be wanting to work with you right away. Not saying that they wouldn't. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like don't be very presumptuous about that. Because again,
Mhm.
they're powerful beings in their own right. They can help you or they could make it slightly more difficult for you. And
Mhm.
I've heard stories of people like accidentally misusing their spirit guides or their deities, and like also when they just leave them alone, they're like, why did you abandon me? And they get upset about that. And to me it's just like, well, because you didn't treat them right, you weren't
Mhm.
respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And funny enough, like a story which I could tell later, but that person was by accident, that they um, ignored their spirit, their guardian in a way. But no, yeah, like again, like I heard from a TikToker, which I definitely resonated with me now more than anything, was that the whole fact like when you're working with a spirit or a guardian, like you are not definitely like no, not with a guardian, sorry, with a deity, with a spirit or deity,
Mhm.
mostly with a deity, but against like with anybody, like when you're working with them, especially like someone who's like higher power, you're calling out to them, you're wanting to work with them, you have to be not only respectful or anything, but like I wouldn't say understand, definitely understanding, more respectful, but you gotta realize like when you're working with another being who is in your spirit guides, um, your spirit animal, angel, dragons, whatever, you're reaching out to them, you are now in service to them. So now you have to give them the proper respect and not just assume like, oh hey, I'm reaching out to you. Now you have to do what I say. Because it's like
Mhm.
going up to a random person and saying like, hey, like I want you to do this and that for me. Like how would you
Right.
feel if someone came up to you that? Like I remember when I heard that, I was like, I would get upset. Like I would definitely get upset if someone was to come to me and say, like, I demand that you show me respect and start listening to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So no, yeah, like if you're to reach out to a deity or a spirit, like again, like be very mindful, be very careful, be very respectful, and don't start being arrogant or anything like that, because they will let you know that they do not appreciate what you're doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say also, like, if you, anybody who's listening to this and feels like, well, how do I know if I'm ready? How do I know if I should reach out to my spirit guides or a deity or, you know, etc.? Well, this could be just the fact that you're even listening to this. This could be a sign. Yeah, I truly believe that everything is for a reason. And we're being guided whether we believe it or not, whether we believe in it or not. We're being guided. So if somebody stumbles upon this, this podcast, and we put this out in different forms, so
Mm-hmm.
formats. So I don't know, in whatever way that this reaches you, and you're wondering if you should start connecting with your spirit guides or a deity or your guardian angels, then this is a sign that you should. I think that everyone should communicate with them, but especially if you're wondering and you come across a video like this, then that's your sign right there. Like our spirit guides or guardian angels navigate us and kind of like tug at us like, oh, look at this over here. And if it resonates with you, then it's definitely a message for you.
Hmm.
Now you keep talking about deities, and this is new for me because I have always just communicated with my, like I said, the first one was my guardian angel, and then it's my spirit guide. those are really the two main ones that I have more contact with and that I feel more comfortable with. Because that's another thing. Once you start, maybe at first it might be silly to you or it might, whatever it is that you're feeling, it's okay. But the more that you do it, the more that you communicate with them, you start learning their language. You start picking up on, oh, is this a message? Oh, is this you? And you forge that relationship with them. And this whole deity thing, um, you were the one, Muzica, that kind of introduced me to it, and I personally don't know. Like, I had that thought, like, well, am I ready? Or because a lot of the times we have to get over our programming from when we were children, right? And me, we were all three of us, we were raised Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the times you have to fight with that belief because it's kind of like, no, because, you're not supposed to do this, or no, this. So it has taken me a long time to reach out to anyone else other than my guardian angel and my spirit guide. But I don't know if you, again, and we're not experts in this, okay? We're learning as we're going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
But could you explain a little bit more about what you mean by deities and other spirits? Because I know of one that for sure, try to kind of work with me.
Mhm.
And then also I would like to talk about the other spirits such as like the dragons.
Mhm.
And we don't have to go too much into depth because I would like to do, I guess in the next episode, we could go more into depth with that. In
No, yeah.
depth.
No, yeah. So like when they, like again, like how you said, like you reach a point where you yourself may not either recognize yet that, oh, like you're ready to like further your own teachings, your own pretty much like a spiritual growth, like that you're going through, and all of a sudden like others will like start to sense that from you, like, oh, like okay, this person's ready. And like some, like I said, for others, deities, other spirits will somehow sense that. Like me, um like there was a point where I did kind of question like if one was reaching out to me, and that was Lady Hecate, and she's actually a deity of magic, witchcraft. She also is the crossroads of keepers of keys and secrets. And the only reason I thought like maybe she was reaching out to me is because again they'll send you signs, like something incorporated into them. It could be an animal, a plant, a color, maybe even certain um, other even objects. Like they'll associate themselves also with objects. And if
Hmm.
you see them a lot, it could be something physical, a picture, or like something you just randomly see like on, like say like in the span of like 2 or 3 days, or like even longer than that, and you're questioning whether or not like is this actually reaching out, are they actually reaching out to me, or is it just me? And you can ask, you could do like how you normally would ask like your spirit guides, but you make it a question to them, like you're letting them know like, okay, I'm asking you personally, like, hey, are you reaching out to me, yes or no? And like they will answer you. Some may say no, like it's just a coincidence that you're seeing their signs.
We'll say like, step off. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, cause like
Ew, get away from me, you bum.
and not like that, but like they will let you know, like, no, it's not them. It could be another deity, another spirit who also happens to have um something similar to them. Cause like
Right.
as much as like it's like with us, like we could all like different colors, and you end up meeting someone who also likes the same color. You know, like the color's not just yours. It's just
Right.
It's just trying to figure out like who it is. And if you need more specifics of like who it is and everything, you can ask them like, hey, like who's reaching out to me? Can you help me a bit more? Like I'm trying to figure who you are. And I haven't exactly reached out because I keep thinking a lot like it's probably not it. probably should reach out to her, like maybe saying like, hey, is it really you, or is it just like a bunch of like coincidences? Because again, like a lot of the stuff that she associates stuff with, like again, like other, like it's not just specific to her, like it's other different common things. Like she has ravens, she has keys, like I think she also has a serpent. So,
Mhm.
and I haven't seen anything of snakes. I've seen a lot of ravens, but again, like people say like, oh, like you have to be like specific. If I were to ask like, okay, like show me 3 ravens in the span of like by the end of this week, like, and I see 3 ravens by the end
Mhm.
of towards the end of this week, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's probably her.
Right. Yeah, I want to also say about that, right? So when we talk about, well, yeah, sorry, Noodles, did you have anything to say about this
Not really. I'm not in that
in
part
that
yet,
stage
so
yet?
yeah,
Okay.
so I don't really have a lot to say about this.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to say was that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to kind of be like, I don't know about this because I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of what happened with me. I'm not going to say the name of the deity. I just really don't want to, but there was a deity that has reached out to me. And that's when I said that I was like, it's the first deity. And I feel like this is really powerful deity that actually has taken me by surprise. But the thing is, if you are afraid or if you don't want to work with them, they will listen to you.
Mhm.
Because that was me. That's me right now. I'm kind of like, oof, I don't know because I read their background, I looked into them, and this particular deity, the way that it is a bit for me, it was like, oh, okay, this is scary because like you said earlier, Musica, like sometimes they demand God, I kind of want to say like they demand excellence from you, but that's not really, I don't know why that came to my mind, but they want to work with you. And when we say that they want to work with you, it's like it'll help you. It's not it's to work with you to help you along with your journey, to help you
Mhm.
grow spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone that has been into their spirituality and has, really worked on it, you will know we all see those memes, or I've seen anyway. I don't know if you guys have seen them, where it's like what people think being spiritual means, and then it's like, oh, everything, rainbows and roses, and it's like what it actually is. And then you see like the girl like with her hair all, all just say what's that word?
Oh, messy.
All messy, and they look like they've really been through it, right?
Yeah.
That really is how it's like. That's what
Mhm.
it's like,
No, yeah.
but it's for your good because then you realize like, oh, that's why I went through that. That's why. So this deity is kind of like she comes at you and puts you through the ringer, but it'll be for your own good. And so for me, that is kind of scary because I feel like I'm already going through so much. And so I basically just said, look, I am flattered, like, thank you, but can we slow it down a little bit? It's kind of slow it down. And she has. So you are in control.
Mhm.
Don't think that you're not. You are in control. You can say, we have free will. You can say, no, I'm not interested in this, or yes, okay, or take it easy, let's, and
No, yeah, that's a, like you said, like many people think like, oh, they had no choice. Like once you're like a spirit or a deity was to choose you, you're like, oh, okay, I have no choice but to work with them. It's like no, like it's like how you say, like if you feel a little too overwhelmed or like like you said, like you spirit, like spiritual wise, like it'd be like, oh, you're ready. But like if you yourself are not ready yet and you look into them, like how you say you did, and it intimidated you a bit, and you're like, okay, like give me a moment to like prepare myself to like work with you someday, like they will take into that account. They won't demand immediately like, oh no, like I chosen you, you have to work with me now. That's not how it works.
Mhm.
No, yeah, as much as like many people think like, oh, like that's another thing too, like how you said like with the whole excellence things, like they won't demand perfection right away because again, like they know that you're human, but what they will kind of like expect like for you to like working along with them is again like equal of amount of respect and devotion pretty much.
Mhm.
Like that's what you probably were feeling like devotion to that.
Right.
And again, it's forever how long they may ask for it, they may want for it, because like another TikToker, like she worked with Apollo for quite some time. So I want to say for like better part over a decade.
Mhm.
And when she looked more into her ancestry, because she started getting signs of another deity, and she was like, okay, why are they reaching out to me? Because like I think she said she reached out to Apollo first, and he's been with her again like for over a decade, and like they've been working pretty well. Uh, Again, turns out like this is actually part of her culture, and this deity is reaching out to her because like they feel like okay, like yeah, like you're ready to start working with me. And she didn't know how to feel about that. She reached out to Apollo because like she said, just as this deity was reaching out to her, Apollo started pulling back a bit. And she's like, "What's going on? Like this person started reaching out to me. You start backing up. Like what's going on here?" She started to feel scared and overwhelmed, like how where you were. And
Mhm.
Apollo did answer her, like he told her like, yeah, like he pretty much said like I took you as far as I could take you. Like he pretty much said like
Mhm.
she's gone to a point where he feels like he's no longer needed. Not saying like again like he did tell her like if she ever does need his help again, like she can reach out and he will answer. But like again
Mm.
like he just let her know that they had themselves have reached a point where she doesn't need his as much anymore. So it's like I'm
Mm.
backing up. It's your choice whether or not to work with his D right away. It's up to you. And she did say like she cried for a while because like she didn't want to stop working with him. Like she was like, no, like I want to keep working with you. Like you're very familiar to me. And like she said he did also help her through that too. Like understanding like it's not a forever goodbye. It just means like he's no longer her main one anymore. Like she has to open up now for others.
Hmm.
And she again, I think she talked to the other deity. She said, "Can you please give me a bit more time to like compose myself and to like accept you because this is a bit overwhelming." She didn't expect this all of a sudden.
Right.
And again, like same thing. The deity was like, "No, yeah, okay, like understand, like go right ahead." Like again, like
Mhm.
same thing too. Like very motherly figure, very warm, very accepting. Pretty much told her like, "No, yeah, like sure,
It's okay.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
take your
like
time.
take your
Yeah.
time. Like I'll be here when you're ready."
Mhm.
And when she posted up that TikTok, she said this is about 6 years ago, and she's working with that deity currently, and she loves it. Like she's helping her, she's guiding her, she's teaching her a lot of new stuff, and she herself had just become a new mom, and she's like whenever she feels like oh like I not sure if I'm doing this right or if it's wrong or I'm messing up, like her deity will be there to like be like no like this is just part of learning, like let me help you, and like she'll help her.
Mhm.
And again, like it can be again like and like again two examples like this may or may not happen to somebody, it may or may not happen to you, like but again like this is all part of like again like what she said like it's growth. It's something that like, it's gonna happen to you, and as much as like everyone wants to fight it, wants to keep staying in one form, that's impossible. It's like either you have to evolve to grow and like have yourself become a stronger and better version of yourself. Because if you just stay
Yeah.
in one form for so long, then you're not growing, you're getting stuck, and then eventually, I don't know, like I wouldn't want to say you're letting them down, but more like you're letting yourself down. Because then it's like, well, then where's the growth and the betterment of yourself that you wanted?
Right. So I think that this would be a good place to stop for today
Mm-hmm.
because, yeah, I think that from this we can go on and talk about the different types of guardian angels and the spirit guides and all that, but for the purpose of this, of this one, because it's of this episode that's called, communicating with them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, again, I feel that if you are barely starting your journey and you want to communicate, meditate, be open to, they're obviously not going to stand physical form and talk to you. That's not how it works. But be open to that. Be open to seeing the signs around you. And if you think that it's a sign, like Musica said earlier, ask for another one. You can do that. You can say like, hey, okay, if this is really you, show me a pink pony. You could do that, and just wait, and it's not gonna appear in front of you. Like, don't think like that either. But you will eventually see one if the message is for you. And if you're afraid to contact your guardian angel or your spirit guides or the deities, always come from a good heart, come from a good place, and try to communicate with them. Meditate, talk to them, take some time for yourself, and you will not regret it, because I have not regretted it. And everyone that I've spoken to, everyone that we know that has that relationship with them, I don't, nobody regrets it. They're here to help you.
Definitely.
Mhm.
All right. Well, again, if you guys like this content, if there's anything that you took away from this, please support us. Give us a like, subscribe, follow, share it, and join our Discord so we can communicate, so we can continue with this conversation there, and we can talk with each other about this kind of stuff, or anything. But join our Discord, and yeah. So my name is Mita. And I'm here with Musica and Noodles. And this is Bluntly Talking, Witch's Corner. Bye.
See you
Bye.
later.